It's our mid-season prospect episode. We'll go over prospects you need to know for the rest of 2025 and beyond. Tim McLeod of Prospect 361 joins us next on Beat the Shift. And welcome to another episode of the Beat the Shift podcast. I am your host, Ariel Cohen, and with me as always is Ruvain Guy. What's going on, Ruvain?
Not much. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. We won our wild card game in our night league, and we're going to be in the semifinals. Because of all the rainouts in New York, we're playing a semifinal followed by a championship next week if we win. Earlier this week, I was hit by a line drive right on the chest. I am completely black and blue, Ruvain, but I gutted it out even the next day. It hurt, but I pitched, and actually pitched a 3-hitter and won the next night, and we won on the playoff game, so I guess I'm good to go. How was your week?
I don't know. Are you sure you're not going to hit the IL? Because you need to know, you got to be completely healthy for these games.
Oh, goodness gracious. No, listen, I mustered what I could. Hitting actually was worse than pitching because, just squaring up, you could feel it. Pitching wasn't as bad because I'm very much on the arm, and it was nowhere near my arm. So,
well, maybe you should see an orthopedist. I think I know one or two.
Do you?
Yes.
All right. Well, we've got a great show today. Now, we're going to do our mid-season prospects episode. And so we've got none other from Prospect 361. Our buddy Tim McLeod. First time in the show. How are you, Tim?
I am absolutely great, Ariel, and thanks so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to chatting baseball with you in a podcast form for a long time, so let's hope for a fun evening.
Absolutely, and of course, we've chatted for a while. I mean, we hung out a lot at First Pitch Arizona this past year. That was a lot of fun, and to remind the audience, First Pitch Arizona is going to be in the first weekend of November coming up. You should be there. What are you coming back again, Tim? I think you're maybe not.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be passing this year, Ariel.
Okay.
But one of the reasons for it is you've done such an exceptional job sitting in at the XFL auction. I can take a year off, turn the controls over to you, and sit back and catch the end results. And I know you'll do a great job drafting my team for me. And as far as the seminar itself, it's pretty hard to beat. All of the industry stalwarts are there. Hey, the best 4 days of your life.
Absolutely, and I'm happy and honored once again to draft for you this coming November. But I guess we're gonna miss. We had a nice dinner that night on Sunday, the last day, and then we went to a ball game. That was good times. We went to this kosher place out somewhere in Scottsdale. It was pretty good.
It was the best chicken I've ever had and the biggest servings I've ever seen, Ariel. Outstanding. The next time that we are together in Arizona, we got to make a date to spend at least one supper there because the food was just outstanding. It really
Absolutely. Well, definitely looking forward once again. And Ruvain, you're going to be there this year, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. Maybe that restaurant can sponsor one of our podcasts, too. You never know.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, we're going to jump right into our strategy section as we usually do. And, again, we're going to talk about prospects today. So before we go into a couple specific ones, let's just talk some strategy. So first question to you, Tim. If you do have – now, by the way, Tim, we play mostly redraft leagues. Obviously, if you're in a dynasty league, you're going to have prospects on your roster, obviously. If you're going to make decisions, that the prospects obviously have to be accounted for. And we will talk about prospects for dynasty leagues today, but we're going to talk about redrafts particularly now. If you have prospects on your redraft league right now, when do you activate them? Are you activating only by matchups? Are you waiting till they get hot to activate them? Are you going right away? They're called up. How do you work prospects on your roster for redraft leagues?
Well, in a redraft format, Ariel, if I have somebody, a prospect on my roster, from draft day, I'm going to get them active right away. I want to take advantage, especially pitching. And we've seen a certain young Milwaukee Brewer starter take advantage of those early starts. If I'm holding a spot on my team, if the rules provide for it, of course, because some formats have contracts tied to service time, etc. That's more for dynasty and keeper formats, but I want to get them going right away and see what they got.
Interesting. Ruvain, do you differ? And I'll add in a question for you, Ruvain. Does it make a difference if it's a hitter versus a pitcher prospect?
Well, I differ just a little bit. I mean, a lot of these, and in a redraft league, a lot of leagues don't allow you to pick out these prospects until they actually come up. Like in an NFBC format, you don't have an option unless you actually draft them. If you drafted them, then yes, you 100% should be playing them. But even if you pick them up the first week, I'm not running right away to put them into my lineup. I think it depends a lot on where you are in the standings. If you're in the top three and your team is just rolling along, and you happen to get one of the top prospects who were just brought up that week, why would you risk it and take out some people who are a little bit more quote unquote of a sure thing coming in? And if you're lower in your standings, then you got nothing to lose. You win the player, put them in, see what you got. You can go by matchups if you want. You can go by games per week, whatever you want. You also see how different teams play rookies, because different teams do that differently. And when it comes to pitchers versus hitters, I think I'm a little bit more I'm easygoing about putting the pitchers into the lineup like 2 or 3 weeks in. I want to see how they do. The first couple weeks, there's always some getting to know what's going on in the majors. Sometimes they come out hot, sometimes they come out very cold, and you don't want a clunker from that start, from that prospect that you pick up. If you get that prospect you pick up and they have a clunker, you're going to be very hesitant to use them again until they have 1, 2, or even 3 good starts in a row. So I'm a little quicker to see what we got with the hitters as opposed with the pitchers.
I mean, for me, I think that for pitchers, I'm very hesitant unless you get like a generational guy like Paul Skeens. Take Chase Burns. He had a great start, 8 strikeouts against the Yankees. And I remember I was at work this week, and a fellow colleague asked me, Ariel, are you picking up Chase Burns? And I said to him, I don't know. These rookies, they sometimes hit a wall. Maybe they give you 2 starts and they give you a clunker. I'm pretty hesitant. And what happened? He bombed next week at Boston. 5 earned runs, just got 1 out. He pitched a little bit better at Philadelphia the next time. Too many walks, but not too many runs given up. I'm hesitant about the pitchers. For hitters, I mean, it all depends, of course, on the pedigree. Certainly, if they're being inserted to the top or middle of the order, I'm putting them in right away. If not, I'm not. As for pitchers, the one thing I'll also add is it depends on the format. In Roto, I'm hesitant. But if you're in the head-to-head points where it's just weekly and it doesn't matter after the week, then you can be a little bit more risky because then it doesn't hurt your overall ERA. Tim, do you agree, disagree with anything we've said there?
I try and avoid pitchers making their debut in the Bronx, Dodger Stadium, or Coors. Okay, I think you've got to look at the matchups, but for the most part, I'm all in. If I invested in a certain prospect, it's because I like their potential a lot. So I have a tendency to either through injury or whether I'm going to have a spot available. Especially this year, I've had a horrible year with injuries. As a matter of fact, just about everybody who's owned a starting pitcher has. I went through my top 50 preseason starting pitchers, and of that 50, only 20 have avoided the IL this year at one point in time or another. So when it comes to pitching, if they come up, other than select parks, I like getting them going right away, and roll the dice and see what happens. If I believe in them enough to roster them, I also believe enough in them to get them in the game.
All right, so what happens when you have a prospect on your roster that's not performing? They're just ice cold. What do? Do you stop playing them? Do you drop them for redraft leagues? And I'll add to that, Tim, what if they're demoted? Is that an instant drop in redraft leagues if they're on your roster?
Most of my leagues I run with seven-man reserves. So I do have room to, work with my reserve roster, but I think what we're seeing right now is I think patience is the key. Okay, we're seeing so many prospects getting promoted early. Okay, and I think they're missing out on crucial minor league time. And just to toss a name out at you, Nick Kurtz. Okay, it is a great example. Okay, I started him the first week, and then I sat him for a couple of weeks. At the end of his first month, he had 1 homer and 6 RBIs. Okay, currently he has 14 homers, 39 RBIs. It took him a while to get feeling comfortable, but I think if you believe in a player, I think you have to exercise some patience. And again, hey, some get out of the gate strong, some don't. If they don't get out of the great gate strong, I usually just exercise patience. If I've spent the time to feel that they are justified being on my roster, I'm going to give them a little bit more than a week or two.
Really depends on the format, depends on the size of league, of course. Ruvain, what are your thoughts?
I tend to like to cut bait a little bit quicker, and also I think it depends on how much you actually spent on the prospect. Like in the league we're in, when GDD, I picked up Jack Caglione real early, and I got him for real cheap. And I had so many injuries, and he was just so underperforming. I know he's homered the last couple of games, but he's so underperforming, and I just can't wait for him because I'm so far behind in the standings. I dropped him last week. There comes a point when you think maybe he's going to get set back down. You don't know what's going on, and if you're not going to play him and he's taking up a roster spot, and you have so many injuries, like Tim, you said you have a whole bunch of talking about injuries. If there's no room in your on your roster, sometimes you have to just drop him. But you know what? I'm very curious to see this week in that league if someone's actually going to pick up Jack Caglione in our league, because I don't think there's a reason for him to be on my roster at this point. Could he be good toward the end of August, beginning of September? That's fine, but at this point, I need someone to produce, and right now, if he's not producing, he doesn't have room in my roster. Remember, this is in a redraft league.
It all depends, of course, on your exact team and situation, right? You can't make a general rule. We can only tell you general principles. But of course, if you have a room on your roster, you can be a little bit more patient and not cut. If you've got tons of injuries and you don't have an injured list, well, you might have to. And if there's another guy on the waiver wire that's hot and there's an opportunity to get him, you might want to do that. So it really is dependent, but there's some general rules. Tim?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's hard when most of my leagues are running anywhere between 5 and unlimited as far as injury slots are concerned. So even as you're accruing these injuries, you got to backfill into your reserve roster, right? So that again changed the rules. If you're playing NFBC where you don't have an IL, yeah, it's tough sitting on people. So much of it is dependent on league format and rules. But generally, as a rule, I like to exercise patience wherever I can.
But doesn't it also depend a little bit on how much fab capital you spend on it? Like if you spend very little money, let's say you picked up a prospect, you picked up Christian Campbell, early on, or you picked up Caglione like 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before, where you really didn't pay that much. Doesn't it make it a little easier to cut ties with them?
By not really, because it sort of becomes irrelevant to me. The way I play the game, I've generally spent 70% of my fab by the end of May. Okay, I'm a big believer in going early and going often, simply because you get the advantage of 5, 6 months playing time when you hit. Okay, as we see more and more prospects coming up, I want them for the long haul, if wherever possible. A lot of the prospects that I'm talking about on my teams are prospects I've drafted on draft day. And I have a tendency to exercise a fair bit of patience there. But again, it all becomes very, very relevant, and context comes into play too. Some teams have very, very little patience. The Rays are constantly bringing players up, putting players down. Simpson was one that we saw. He was leading the league, I think, in stolen bases. They sent him down to work on something. Again, teams like Houston have a tendency to exercise a lot of patience. So when they call up a prospect, they have a tendency to be thinking long as compared to short term. And again, it's just knowing the game, knowing the way teams play the game, and that also has an influence on the decisions you make as far as holding on to prospects.
What about picking up prospects off of a waiver wire? Now, NFBC is a little bit different because you can't pick up prospects before they played a game, and then there's a frenzy. But for a lot of leagues, a lot of home leagues, you can pick up prospects pretty much any time. What's a general rule for you to know when to pick them up? Is it, do you get some news that they're going to be called up soon? Do you have to be aware of Super 2 status and things like that? Do you wait for trade deadline and say, okay, now's the time to pick up? Like, what's your rules for when to pick up prospects off of waiver wires?
I generally like to. I spend a lot of time looking at minor league stats, and I'll take a look at a player who's on a roll, who's playing very well, and have a tendency to pick up that player a week or two before announcements are made. I've always played that game, the speculative game. And the reason for it is I can pick up a player for $2 2 weeks early that might cost me $30 when he finally gets called up. So again, because I go early on my fab and spend a fair bit, uh, it changes the way I look at a lot of prospects once you get into June and July. Yeah, I'll go a week early because I know I don't have 40% of my fab left to play around with, Ariel.
Does that change the way that you construct your roster? Because if you're constantly picking up prospects, 2 weeks early, or picking up it doesn't have to be prospect, a speculative bid a week or two earlier than you think, and just playing that game, does that change the way you build your roster? Because then you really need to have an ongoing streaming slot for potential pickups that could hit, right? Do you? I mean, for me, I have few of those spots because I'm a big expected value guy, right? I don't
Right.
take top end talent. I just fill slots with value. And my waiver wire guys, where I should say my bottom of my bench, generally are the best guys on the waiver wire, not necessarily the highest bang for your buck potentially, right? I just want some expected value in case of injury. So I'm playing it different. Are you playing it differently than me with your construction?
I tend to look at, and again, can you ever have enough starting pitching? I don't think so. Not based on the level of injuries we've seen this year. I have a tendency to try and dedicate 4 spots of 7-man reserve to starting pitching. Okay, I'm always looking at pitching because I know there are going to be injuries. It's just a fact of life. I try and get 1 or 2 bats that I think provide decent value that are multi-position eligible, and then 1, 2 spots that I play around with. And by playing around, I mean picking up. I picked up Henriquez in Miami, who looks to be their closer right now. I picked him up back in May, I believe, because I like the high strikeout rates. I like the potential, and I didn't like the fact that Miami's bullpen was a mess. So I saw potential there, so I held on to him, and I actually used him long before he was getting saves because he was generating good strikeout numbers. Okay, and producing the odd win. And lo and behold, over the course of the next month and a half, he's worked himself into a position where he's earning saves. So again, to pay a buck or two and see that sort of result, that's how I play the game, Ariel.
Ruvain, anything to add?
No, I think the one thing that you mentioned, Tim, about looking at the minor league stats, what do you look at when you're looking at the minor league stats? Which stats do you think correlate the best when the players are initially brought up?
For me, there's 2 numbers that I look at, and one is walks, and the other is strikeouts. I want high strikeout guys, and I want guys that don't walk people. I reduce I reduce the pitching game to a rather simplistic, with everything that we have available at our disposal. At the end of the day, it all boils down to, if a pitcher's going to be successful, okay, they got to strike a few people out, okay, and they can't be walking people, and pitchers that have high walk rates, even with a high strikeout rate, and they're showing wonderful ERAs at the minor league level, you can't walk batters. You cannot give away runs. And that is probably one of the key measurements that I use at the minor league level. I want to see a low walk rate. And that will get me excited and interested in investing, guys.
All right, before we go on to our buy, sell, hold portion, which is going to be about prospects, some up already, some down, some still down and not called up, that is. But before we do that, time for our Injury Gurus trivia of the week.
All right, so the trivia of the week is going to be based on one of the players we're going to be talking about, so it's a little hint for the people who are on the podcast here for the answer. But 6 catchers in the majors so far have 14 home runs this year to this point. 14 home runs by a catcher. Who are they? 14 or more, 14 or more.
You get to go first, Tim.
Oh, I'll save the easy one for somebody else. I'll go with Augustin Ramirez.
Yeah, that's the obvious one because we're going to be talking about him. He has 14 home runs. Ariel?
Okay, well, that I mean, he's on the list. I'm going to go with the actual obvious one with Cal Raleigh.
Yes, he's obviously number one at this point with 36 home runs. Okay, Tim, let's see if you can get another one.
Sal Perez has got to be pretty close. He had another one today.
Yes, but he's not at 14 yet.
Okay. He's got, what is he, 13?
He's close. He's either 12 or 13 at this point, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Hunter Goodman.
Hunter Goodman, yes. Hunter Goodman has 17 home runs out there in Colorado. You got a couple more.
Oh. I'm gonna
You have to think La La Land in New York. That's
Right,
what you got to do.
Yeah, so
Austin Wells, yeah.
Austin Wells, yeah.
Austin Wells.
And
he
I've
has
got this
14.
guy on like almost every team, Logan O'Hoppe.
Logan
Yeah.
O'Hoppe, and
There we
also a guy who does qualify at catcher in some leagues, Ben Rice. Now, he has 14 home runs. Now, Ben Rice, Austin Wells, and Augustin Ramirez all are from the Yankees organization. Remember, Augustin Ramirez was part of that Jazz Chisholm trade that sent him out to Miami. He has, like I mentioned, he's got a lot of power. He's had only 31 games at catcher. He's hitting so well, they're playing him at DH. So, Tim, is he a buy, sell, or hold? Because I think for him right now, the way he's playing, and because he's catching even half the games and DHing, I think he's a buy. What do you think?
I agree. Definitely a buy. The kid can hit. He's always been able to hit. And because they are giving him the extra at-bats at DH, I think we could see, come season end, 25 homers, 85 RBIs. He's the most valuable bat on that Marlins squad, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the projections, ATC has, another 9 homers for the rest of the season, which would put him, close to that 25 mark. And batting average, about 246 as well, which is close to what he is now. I mean, the projections pretty much are agreeing that his year stats to date are legit. He's got a 19% strikeout rate, so very good contact on there. WRC plus of 113. The guy's hitting homers. He's barreling balls at a 12% rate. This guy is absolutely legit. He is a buy, and he's a number 1 catcher for me.
You don't think he's actually like a sell high type of guy? I mean,
No.
you can get a lot of value back from him because catchers are just a dime a dozen. When you get especially two catcher leagues, if you're in a trading league, I mean, you don't think you can sell high in this guy?
No,
or
and
you
I
just
think
wanna
what
hold?
Tim said is key is that he's getting extra at bats as DH. How many catchers also steal at bats at DH other than Sal Perez?
And who do you replace him with?
That's the problem.
No,
Yeah,
he's a
that's
buy.
problem.
He's a buy for
Yes.
me.
Yep, I agree.
Let's talk about another guy who's up, the White Sox, Chase Mayadroth. 11 stolen bases so far, 247 average. Projections aren't as high on him going forward. Only have about 5 to 7 stolen bases more. But curious to hear your thoughts, Tim, on Chase Mayadroth.
The hit tool's outstanding. It really is. And he's going to get plenty of playing time in Chicago, and it's going to be at the top of the order. So I think you're looking at very solid runs scored numbers with moderate power and speed potential. But looking last year at AAA in 558 plate appearances, he walked 105 times with 71 strikeouts. If you're in an OBP league, you want this guy on your roster, I think.
So he's a buy for you?
Yeah, he's a buy for me.
Okay, move in.
I think he may be a hold to a sell only because that the lineup he's playing in is not that great at this point. I don't think they're going to get much better through the course of the year, even next year if you're in a keeper league. I don't know how much great their prospects in the White Sox are not known for their best prospects. Plus, since May 23rd, Chase Meidroth was batting 309. He's batting 247 now, and he has again he'll give you some batting average. He'll throw in a stolen base there, but he has no home runs since June 7th. So I mean, the position he plays, I think I can get more value from other players from him. So to me, he's either a hold if I have room in the roster, or even a sell.
Yeah, I think it really depends a lot on the format. If you're, a 10, 12 team league, to me, he's not I wouldn't roster him because you're taking a zero in the power department. Same thing with a 15 team league. He's not stealing an ungodly amount of stolen bases. Like, he's not a Jose Caballero type where, all right, you take a 0 homers because he's stealing you 40 bases. He's not at that level. So I don't really see a real reason in the first place to have rostered him. If you're in an AL-only league, yes, then he's a hold for me. I'm not buying. I think I'm just holding, but only in the appropriate format.
Yeah, most of my leagues are 15-team leagues, and most of them are OBP leagues. Okay, so I'm
So he
always
has more value.
Yeah,
So
he has more value. Yeah, in the leagues that I'm playing in.
Sure. And are they going to trade? The White Sox going to trade any of their hitters? Will that weaken the lineup even more?
I don't think it could get much weaker.
Sure. it
Maybe
could.
So what if they trade Luis Robert, right?
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, he's not playing anyways, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
They can trade Benintendi.
Again, is that going to be the end of the world as we know it?
That doesn't move the needle. That doesn't move the needle.
Okay. All right, let's go to Roman Anthony, batting 263 so far, just 2 homers, about 100 at bats so far. I mean, top prospect, top pedigree. Is this a buy, sell, hold? I guess the long term is obviously you're going to hold or buy. But for the rest of 2025, are you buying Roman Anthony, or are you holding, or are you selling while he still has a name and maybe he just goes cold?
Well, over the past 10 games, he's 17 for 44 with 5 doubles, 8 runs scored, 6 RBIs, and 6 or 7 multi-hit efforts. I think Roman Anthony is coming into his own, and I think you're going to want to have him on your roster over the last 2 months of the season. So for me, he's a buy.
I agree. I mean, he's one of he was the number one prospect for most people. Since June 25th, his batting average has gone up 150 points, which means he's actually figured it out. And like you mentioned, he's hit safe in 11 of the last 12 games, so he's actually hot right now. The question is, if he slumps, is he going to lose playing time? Is he going to be sent down? Does Christian Campbell get called back up and he lose playing time that way? Does Yoshida, who was just activated from the IL, does he steal some playing time? So, there's a question of how they're going to fit everything in. And then also the question is whether or not the Red Sox are going to be sellers. Because if they're going to be sellers, then Anthony's going to play the rest of the way through. If they're going to be buyers, then it's a question of whether or not he's hitting or not. So, but for me, for the rest of the season, I think he's a buy. I think he's a hold. And I think you have to run with him because right now he's one of the hottest players on the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, he's batting 400 in the last 2 weeks. He's red hot right now. I look to where he's batting in the lineup. He's batting pretty much second or third every single day. They're even giving him DH opportunities, so they're going to continue to play him in good spots. Yeah, to me, he's a buy. You can win leagues with this type of prospect. Again, this is a very, very high-end, high-pedigree prospect, and the Red Sox are absolutely making use of him. Let's go to another hitting guy, Jack Caglianone, top hitting prospect for the Royals. Now, he's a little bit on the cold side. He's only batting 151 so far in about 125 plate appearances. He does have 4 homers. He doesn't strike out that much, 22%, but doesn't walk a ton either, only 4% walk rate. Ground ball rate is over 50%, so you're going to have a lot of bumps and bruises. You may not get this year the batting average. So it really depends on the format and what you're in as far as what you have him. But he's got that pedigree. Maybe you can talk a little bit more because I don't know him as well as you do, Tim. But what are your thoughts on him, and are you buying, holding, or selling for the rest of 2025?
Well, I'm going to go back Nick Kurtz, who hit one homer and 6 RBIs in his first month of the season and is now at 14 homers and 39 RBIs. Past 2 games, he's homered in each of them. I think the potential is there. I would be buying if the price is right. Okay, if I can get him for the right price, the power potential is such that I would live with the batting average. The game is a constant series of adjustments. Pitchers adjust, hitters adjust, and it goes back and forth. And again, it goes back to my philosophy of exercising patience. I think the pedigree behind Caglianone is such that what we've seen in the past 2 games we could see for an extended period. And I'm not going to base my decision as to the next 2 months on what he has done thus far, but the potential of what he could do over the next 2 months. So a lot depends on price, but I'm definitely interested in him, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him come end of the year with 15 to 20 home runs.
All right, moving.
Well, I already told you that I dropped him in a 12-team league in GDD, so I'm more on the side of sell at this point because I think you could probably get more for his name value. And maybe if you're in a keeper league and you're trying to win a title and you have him on your bench or you're not really playing them, he's a guy you could probably trade to get some useful parts. You mentioned his ground ball rate. You mentioned the K rate. But there's no one really behind him, and as long as the Royals are still hanging around, I think they're going to keep playing him. I think they're going to send him out there. I think it's a matter of playing time, and there's really no stud that's really behind him at this point. So I think they're going to just keep throwing him out there until he figures it out.
So for me, if you're in a keeper league, this is an obvious buy right now. If you're a team that's sort of out of it, right? If he's batting only he's batting 151. He's batting 111 the last month. If for somebody who's trying to go for the championship, you go to him in a trade and you say, hey, I'll give you an actual performer for this guy who might be a long-term success. So it's a classic buy and trade for in a keeper league. But if I'm playing for a championship and I'm in second, first, third place or whatever, and in a redraft league, I need production now. I don't know if I can wait a month for him to turn it around. Remember, we're already in mid-July. We only have, less than 3 months, 2.5 months in the season left. If I wait a month, I'm missing out on production that I need expected production to really win. I'm not counting on him. He's not, a $30 player in my base. He's a guy that I have at the bottom that I'm hoping for something. Not the right place for somebody who is in front. So it's not a buy or a hold for me if I'm really going for it. I'm at the top of a redraft league. I guess if I'm in the bottom and I need a jolt and you say, what the heck, this guy could do something this year, I guess you can go for it. But for me, he's a sell if I'm at the top of the standing in a redraft league just for this year. In a keeper league, it's a buy all the way. In a redraft league, to me, it's a sell.
Fair enough.
Okay. Let's go on to some pitchers, some up, some down already. Andrew Painter, top prospect for the Phillies. The Phillies have had some injuries. He's got a 25% strikeout rate in the minors, 8% walk rate, which is not fantastic. Do you see something in Andrew Painter right now that makes you want to buy him, Tim, or are you just holding off on him for the time being?
If I can find somebody to take him off my hands, I don't have him in any leagues, but if I did, I'd be wanting to move him. When you look at the Phillies rotation, the Phillies are in it to win it. Okay, now right now there might be room in that rotation because they currently have Tyon Walker there, but Aaron Nola will be returning. At which point in time, for Painter to get into that mix, they're going to have to go to a six-man rotation because Wheeler and Sanchez and Luzardo and Ranger Suarez, those four have got jobs. So there's one open spot. They sent Mick Abel back down after he struggled with the free passes. I don't think they're in any hurry to bring Andrew Painter up. I think they want to be very cautious and careful with him so they have him ready for next spring. So for me, it's a sell if anybody's interested in buying.
I agree, Ruven.
I tend to agree also because it's exactly 2 years since he had Tommy John surgery. Aaron Nola supposed to be back in August, so I think the Phillies can stay afloat without having to bring him up. The problem with Andrew Painter right now is that his control is an issue. He's walking a lot of people, and that's typical for pitchers coming back from Tommy John. The last thing that they get back is their control. So the fact that he's having these issues, I don't see how the Phillies can bring him up and start losing control and walking the ballpark and then losing confidence, and they can just spiral out of control. I mean, if they desperately need him and they need a jolt in the arm and he has a couple good starts at AAA, fine, that's great. And maybe you can bring him up for a spot start, but I can't see an extended run from this year.
Yeah, a cup of coffee in September, right?
Right, that's it. Like one or two spot starts if they need him, or maybe a jolt out of the bullpen or something.
How about Joe Boyle? Now, I, as you know, don't really pick up prospects. I'm very hesitant, especially pitchers. I mentioned that at the top of the show. Ruven and I picked up Joe Boyle in like 2 or 3 leagues. So far, 10 innings, 38% strikeout rate, 8% walk rate, but that's a 30 K minus BB. No earned runs, .5 whip. And it looks like he's going to be the bulk man after Drew Rasmussen, which means he doesn't even have to last 5 innings to get wins for Tampa. And Tampa's a decent team. I mean, I've already bought him. Tim, or do you agree with our decision to get him quickly on our rosters?
Yes, most definitely. He's already up. As you mentioned, he looks great. He was very successful down on the farm, and the news that he's following Rasmussen as the bulk reliever is not bad news. It's good news. Very good news for Boyle owners. Not so much for Rasmussen. They're going to be very careful with him. From everything I've read down the stretch. So he might even be somebody you might want to look at in leagues where you don't have an IL. He might be a cut at this point in time. Because if they're only going to work him, 2 innings an outing, and hopefully have him, okay and healthy for the playoffs, I think I'd rather have Boyle right now.
I mean, you're getting no wins from Rasmussen if he's going to be the
No.
bulk, if he's going to be the starter. You're getting 0 by definition, right? You can't. But
And the most you're getting is 6 strikeouts, right?
No wins, no quality starts, and if they fall out of the playoff race, he's going to probably be shut down, and you'll see even more of Boyle. Boyle will be starting games, and he'll be pitching more innings. So, I think Boyle's a definite buy at this point.
it's so clear cut what to do with Rasmussen. I mean, he is an absolute drop. I mean, for what reason would you want to put him in? Like, what kind of format does that make sense? Almost none right now.
Well, and the other thing is, you use the argument, okay, the ERA and WHIP will be great. But when you're looking at 2 innings every outing, and right now we're halfway through the season, most teams have got 600 innings in. It doesn't matter if he throws perfect innings.
Yeah, and you
You're
could pick
better
up a
off with
reliever, pick up
an
a
eighth
Brian
inning guy.
Abreu
Yeah.
that'll give you the ratios, for more
Right.
innings.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
reliever has a better chance to get a win than Rasmussen.
On a
Yeah.
high-scoring team, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Brandon Sproat for the Mets. Overall, 5 ERA, 1.4 WHIP, which is not fantastic. 11% walk rate, only 18% strikeout rate. Good ground ball rate, 55. He has pitched better as of late. His last couple of outings, he has been pretty good. The Mets do need some starters, or they need something. They have to either trade for someone, hope that their injury returnees are good. Brandon Sproat, is he a candidate to come up this season? I'm going to go to Ruvain first, the Met fan. What do you think?
I think he will. I mean, I heard rumors that he was going to pitch this past Sunday against the Yankees. They were actually floating that of him possibly pitching. And I went to the game on Sunday, the Mets Yankee game, and I was hoping to see him because he's been pitching really well. He pitched tonight. He actually pitched his 3rd straight scoreless start. Tonight he pitched in AAA, 7 innings, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's trying to figure it out at AAA. If you look at what he's been doing at AAA, it's a little bit different than what he's done before. He's using his cutter. He got rid of his cutter, and he's using his sinker and slider for a combined 52% of the time, and he's using his fastball 22% of the time. So they're actually trying to remodel him a little bit, try to make him use other pitches, so when he gets to the majors, he'll be more of a contact type pitcher. I think because that plays more to the Mets' qualities of playing, playing good defense out the middle. That's their idea of having good defense out the middle. So I do think he will come up, because if you look at all those Mets pitchers that have been injured, some of them are going to come back. Senga's going to come back after the All-Star break. Manaya's piggybacking on Sunday, I think, in his first game. I mean, they're slowly coming back, but they've all been injured already. How much longer are they going to stay healthy? And I think they may even want to do a 6-man rotation with Senga, so you may see another pitcher come up.
Thoughts, Tim?
Well, I'm staying away from him myself personally. With Clay Holmes, Frankie Montas, David Peterson, Senga and Manaya should both be, if they're not up this weekend, they'll be up immediately after the break. So there's your 5-man rotation. And I think if they're going to go to the minors, they get a pitcher at AA who is ready to pitch in the big leagues, and that's Jonah Tong. And when you've got 125 strikeouts and 78 2/3 with a 194 ERA and .93 WHIP, I think if they need a kid, I think they might look at Jonah Tong. Just an outstanding young pitcher, and I see the allure of Brandon Sprout. He's safer, but if the Mets are in it to win it, would they be better off with Tong or Sprout right now? I'm not sure.
I mean, the issue of bringing up a AA pitcher and not a AAA pitcher, they may want more seasoning for Tong. Tong's he's been rocketing through their minor league system.
41% strikeout rate.
He's like striking out,
but it's double A though. It's double A.
But is double A the new trip? Is double A the new triple A? Is triple A basically your first to go to in the event of injury? I don't see. I think we've seen a philosophical change in the game between double A and triple A, and I don't know if the fact he's at double A comes into play as much as we might think it does. I don't know. I could be out of line there, but a lot of pitchers are moving up from double A, hitters as well. And is triple A just simply an extension of the 25-man roster and fillers for injuries, yada yada yada, or is triple A more meaningful than what I believe it is?
Well, is there a board bet here? Ruven, are you saying that Sproat will be up before Tong, and are you saying, Tim, that Tong will be up before Sproat? Is that the board bet here?
Yeah, I'll take that bet. Yeah,
Ruven, I bet $1 board bet.
I would take that bet.
Dollar board bet, book it.
I would take that bet. The issue is with both of them, neither of them are on the 40-man roster, so they'd have to clear somebody out, and that would be the only issue of bringing one of those two guys up.
Do I get 10% commission for this?
Well, I'm paying 27% on the exchange, so take it out of that. Take it out of that, Ariel. Yeah, take it out of that, Ariel. How's that sound?
All right, I just made a dime, a U.S. dime. All right.
Okay.
All right. Last one before we go to just Tim, to your big base of knowledge. But Michael McGreevy, so far looking decent for St. Louis. 21 innings so far. 19% strikeout rate, which is okay-ish, but only 4% walk rate. That actually looks stellar. He's got a 4.22 ERA, but a better Sierra, 3.97 Sierra, 103 WHIP. So he has been effective. Are you buying, selling, or holding, Tim, on Michael McGreevy?
I'm buying because Eric Fedde is one bad outing away from losing his job. And I'm going to bet that Eric Fedde has that bad outing. And we see Michael McGreevy. He's going to be a target of mine in fab runs this week. Where I have the space in my minors, I'm going to see if I can find a home for him, Ariel.
Well, I just dropped Eric Fedde on like every single roster that I had, which was a few of them, and he was good for the first couple of months. But yeah, he's done. Ruvain?
I heard that they think they want to pitch Fetty one more time through the rotation, and I think they may be doing that for trade value. I think they're going to maybe try to trade Fetty so they can make room for McGreevy. I think McGreevy's going to stay up. I think over 41 innings so far in his career, major league innings, he's got a WHIP of .9 and an ERA of 305. So that's pretty good. So for me, he's a definite buy. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time down the stretch. The only question is, as long as the Cardinals stay in the playoff run, they're probably going to put him out there, see what he's got. But if the Cardinals fall out, they may want to protect his innings. So that's something just to watch for and something to think about.
Yeah, no, good point. Tim, since you're the prospect guy, we always ask prospect guys on the show, who are some of the prospects that we need to know for this season, 2025, who are going to come up and make an impact, and maybe a couple of names that we should be on the lookout for 2026 drafts?
Okay, for this year, for the sum total of $1, I mentioned we're talking with the Mets. Okay, definitely, I believe we're going to see him this year at some point in time. Moving on to Houston, Bryce Matthews. I don't know if you're familiar with Bryce Matthews, but he's getting the call tomorrow. For people that are playing in daily move leagues, you might want to take a look at Bryce Matthews. Nice power speed combination, and apparently it looks like he's going to be playing at second base. The Astros have a history when they bring somebody up of exercising an incredible degree of patience. If you think back to Alex Bregman and his 3 for 41 or 2 for 41 start, I feel fairly confident they're going to give Matthews a good look at second base, move Altuve to the outfield. Chase DeLauder, maybe you guys can help me out with this. He's healthy, he's killing it. Why isn't he already up? I'm totally mystified with Chase DeLauder. You guys have any answers for me there?
I don't. I haven't been tracking him. I mean, preseason he was, a good prospect that I had up, in ATC, but I haven't been tracking him. I'm going by you here.
Yeah, he's a typical Cleveland Indian type player. He gets on base. I think he's got an on base streak of 30 some odd games now. Just been absolutely tearing it up. At some point in time, Cleveland has to look at him.
Based on how poorly their batting has been, I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, especially if they want to try to stay in the race for the playoffs. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, going to Colorado, he's up already. We haven't seen great things yet, but I sort of like Yanquiel Fernandez. Again, it's the Rockies, and they have a tendency to not exercise as much patience as they probably should. But Fernandez this year has shown a big improvement in both the walk and the strikeout rates. So a bit of a slow start, but I'm okay on Yanquiel Fernandez. And the other guy I would like to see up, but apparently the reason we haven't is because of the defense, is Sam Basayo in Baltimore. Working on the D, but man, the bat's definitely ready right now. So there's a few guys for 2025.
Well, they didn't bring him up also when Rutschman got hurt, right? So if they didn't, why would they bring him up now?
When there's 7 other catchers got hurt also, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, they traded for a 29-year-old catcher who's got a career OPS of 300, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he a trade bait, by the way? Because I mean, obviously they have Rutschman. Is he a trade bait?
In redraft leagues, if I had him now...
I'm sorry. What I mean is for the I mean in real life actually. Although Baltimore is not doing well, so obviously if they probably wouldn't this year. But I mean, if put it this way, if Baltimore was doing well this year, he would have been definite trade fodder for them, right?
Or he'd be playing at first base.
Or be playing, right?
Yeah, well, one of the other, because who does Baltimore have at first base?
All-Star Ryan O'Hearn?
Ryan Mountcastle?
All-Star Ryan O'Hearn?
All-Star Ryan O'Hearn. That's what they have right now.
Yeah. It's... I think odds are pretty good. In a redraft league, I'd be selling on Messiah right now. I don't know if he's... With the state of the union in Baltimore, I don't know if we're going to see him this year. But the bat is definitely ready.
And prospects for next year are guys are talking about, who are going to be in drafts, I'd say.
Okay, for 26, here's a few of the guys that I like a lot. Uh, Murakami, okay, from Japan. He was his team agreed to post him next year, and over the past 6 years, he's hit 36, 28, 39, 56, 31, and 39 home runs. He doesn't turn 26 until February. That first, he hit 36 home runs as an 18-year-old, 18, 19-year-old. It might take an extra year to see him because he's dealt with he had off-season elbow surgery and he's just getting back into shape right now. His team has said they're still going to post him. If in fact he does come over next year, Murakami as a prospect definitely interests me. Anyone drafted in the first round this week in the MLB draft from the college ranks uh, definitely should have your attention. You know, we've seen numerous players ascending. Nick Kurtz being one. The Angels always have their current year draft pick up the next season, but it's a strong starting pitching class with Cade Anderson and Liam Doyle and Jamie Arnold. I like Jace Laviolette. I think he could move quickly next year. So there's some some prospects you could look at. Some of the other guys I like for next year, Cam Collier in Cincinnati. He tore the UCL in his thumb. He's back now and hitting well at Double A. He had 20 home runs at High A as a 19-year-old. Max Clark in Detroit. Uh, he's made the move to Double A already. He looks like the real deal. Travis Bazana, he might have been up this year if not for the oblique injury. So definitely somebody that everybody should be looking at for next year. JJ Weatherholt in St. Louis, elite contact skills. Right now he's sitting at Triple A, but at Double A, 7 homers, 14 stolen bases, 44 walks, 40 strikeouts, and they're working him into third base and second base, which they have to do in St. Louis because they got Mason Wynn and they've got some talent in the middle infield. Sebastian Walcott, I would love to see him up next year. 19 years old at Double A, he has 8 homers and 20 stolen bases and 296 at bats. Uh, Walcott has the potential to be a generational type player. And here's one off the radar for you guys, and it's a player that I like a lot. He started the season as a 17-year-old, turned 18 at the end of the year, and that's Yaro Padilla of the Cards. We haven't seen the power yet, but he hasn't finished growing. But so far in 120 at bats, he's 24 of 28 stealing bases. So if you want somebody who's off the radar, not in the top 100, and you're prepared to wait for a couple years, I really like Yaro Padilla.
And if you want to see more prospects, of course, you can follow Tim and Prospects 361 and learn more about that. And I mean, for guys like us who aren't really into prospects, where we don't know, we really do need to track it more, track minors, guys, and listen more to Tim because obviously he knows what he's talking about here. Thank you for that, Tim.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Ariel.
Yep.
I definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, let's go on to our waiver wire section here.
Okay.
Now, we usually do waiver wire and pitcher preview, but because the All-Star break is coming up, sort of, we don't even know some of the rotations, and it's sort of hard to give that. So we're just going to do it all in one, a combined waiver wire. Tim, let's go to you first. Who are a few potential waiver wire pickups you're looking for this week?
Well, one of the big ones for me, I already mentioned him, is in Houston. That's Bryce Matthews. Okay, they called him up. He's going to be starting Friday. Second baseman this year. 4 homers, 24 runs scored, 9 stolen bases since the beginning of June. He's sporting a 298, 401, 504 line. And it looks like Altuve is going back to the outfield, so at bats shouldn't be a problem. So Bryce Matthews is one of my guys for this week.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, Hassan Kin hit his first home run tonight. Last week. I mentioned him in my waiver wire last week. He was only rostered to I think around 20%. He's continuing to knock the rust off, so I like Hassan Kim. Uh, Luis Garcia in Houston. He started his rehab, and it's looking like a beginning of August return. He pitched very well prior to the Tommy John. Again, that's my philosophy in buying in early. I'm not going to wait till Luis Garcia has 5 rehab starts before I buy. I'm going to buy now and hopefully pay next to nothing for him. And the other guy is a sleeper pick that intrigues me. Arizona's a mess, right, Ariel? The bullpen especially, right? They lost Shelby Miller this week, and prior to that, they A.J. Puck and Justin Martinez. And the consensus is, and he's got one save already, is that Kevin Ginkel and that 8.57 ERA is the favorite to take over for Shelby Miller. But I'm going to stay away from Kevin Ginkel and spend a couple bucks on Juan Murillo. 99-mile-an-hour heater. He's got what it takes to pitch at the back end. And for a buck or two, I'm going to roll the dice on Juan Murillo and avoid Kevin Ginkel. And there's my 4 guys, Era.
Sounds good. Ruvain, how about you?
Well, you stole one of my guys because I wanted to mention Hassan Kim. He's 5
Oh,
for
me
15.
too, by the way.
He's 5-15, and he's only 23% owned in CBS right now, so he's probably going to be one of the top guys picked up this week. So he's eligible at shortstop, and with Tampa, he's probably going to be pretty stable there. Taylor Walls, it's not like he had a stranglehold on shortstop there, so I'm not concerned about playing time. Max Muncy of Oakland, who's eligible at second, third, and short, has batted 300 with a homer in the last week, and with Jacob Wilson cooling down and being a little banged up, Muncy's only owned in 11% of CBS leagues. His BABIP has shown that he's been a little bit unlucky. I don't like that carry to 31%. That could scare you a little bit, but he is eligible in a couple of positions, and he may give you some batting average, maybe throwing a home run here and there as well. A couple pitchers I want to mention. Adrian Hauser, if you can stomach a White Sox pitcher, he's been really good over the past month. In 28 in the third innings, he got 17 strikeouts, 4 wins, an ERA of .95, a WHIP of 1.06. Yes, Adrian Hauser is doing that right now, but it is Adrian Hauser, so I don't know how long it's going to last for. And another guy who you have to keep in the back of your mind, and he's a name we haven't mentioned in a long time, and that's Nestor Cortez. He's only owned in 41% in CBS leagues, but in the OLAC leagues, he's only owned in 26%. He's on a rehab assignment and should be called back up to the majors right around when the All-Star break breaks, like in the first week after the All-Star break. So he's a guy you can probably rely on, and hopefully if he's healthy, he can give you the stats that you probably thought you were going to get earlier in the season.
So I'll give you mine now. A word about Adrian Hauser. I looked at him, and to me, I don't recommend him for roto leagues, but I would recommend him for points leagues. The reason is in points leagues, he's pitching deep into games. He's only had one start this year of less than 6 innings, and lately he's going 7 or 8 innings. The White Sox are really getting him on that, and he's doing well. Not a ton of strikeouts, but he's getting it done. So especially points leagues that don't have a ton of points for strikeouts, he's the guy. But the problem
quality start leagues probably works too.
Quality start leagues, right? Anybody who wants innings, quality starts, length, and of course wins are good because if you're pitching 7, 8 innings, you're going to get your share of wins either way. But there's a lot of red flags for his ratios. I know he's got a 1.56 ERA, but he's got a 4.47 Sierra, a 4.03 xFIP, and just to get some math in here, his FIP is 3.12. Of course, the reason why there's such a big difference between his FIP and his xFIP is always because of the homer to fly ball ratio. His homer to fly ball ratio right now is 4%. That is not sustainable. It's going to go up. It's going to triple. So you're going to see some pushback, and he's going to give up some homers soon. His BABIP is 269, very lucky. Strand rate is a very lucky 85%. So there's red flags in there for regression. He has absolutely been lucky so far. But he is pitching deep into games. So for points leagues or weekly leagues, he is still a viable option. Simeon Woods Richardson, he's on a roll. Take a quick look at him. You mentioned Hassan Kim.
I picked him up in a Daily Moves League just this morning. Yeah.
Couple of wins in a row. He's on a roll, so you never know. You mentioned Hassan Kim right now. That's an obvious one. I mentioned 2 other guys ATC preseason was very high on Colt Keith. He qualifies at first, second, and third. Overall in the season, even though he had a terrible April, he's now up to 271 and 8 homers in the season. But actually, this is all since May 1st. Since May 1st, he's batting .309 with 7 homers. That's a phenomenal pace. He's very under-owned, and the Tigers are a very good team. I look at Colt Keith really quickly right now. And Romy Gonzalez, I picked him up in a bunch of draft and whole leagues preseason because he qualifies first, second, and short. On the season, 338, 5 homers, and only 136 at-bats. And now he's batting in the 2-hole very often. That's a great sign. I always look at where players are batting. And if you're constantly batting in the 7-hole, okay. If you're batting in the 2-hole, that really screams to me. So Romy Gonzalez is very interesting, especially on leagues that have small benches and you need to get some positional eligibility in. Anybody else have anybody?
Nice calls, gentlemen. I think we nailed a little bit of everything there. Well
Thank
done.
you very much. All right, Vane, it's time for the final pre-All-Star break injury report. Let's see what we got going into the second half.
Well, in the last couple of injury updates, I've been doing one topic, so let's see if you can figure out what topic this is this week. Clark Schmidt, he should have been, if you didn't drop him already, I dropped him in every league that I had him last week already. He's having Tommy John surgery this Friday, which is tomorrow. So he's out for the year and probably most of next year as well. Shane McClanahan began his rehab assignment. He threw 1 inning. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery from August of 2023, and he had some nerve irritation in his triceps early in this year. He's probably going to spend most of the 30-day rehab window pitching, so you'll probably see him somewhere between mid-August, so he's a guy to think about. Another guy the Rays can just bring up and just plug right in. Kyle Bradish is close to a rehab assignment. He had Tommy John surgery with internal bracing in June of 2024. The Orioles interim manager Tony Mansolino said this week that he's already thrown a couple of batting practice, and he's hopefully will start a rehab assignment very, very soon. Luis Gil, who's coming back from a lat injury. Yankees manager Aaron Boone said this week that he's supposed to begin a rehab assignment this Sunday. The question is going to be how many rehab assignments, how many starts he's going to get. So he may be back in 2 to 3 weeks. Spencer Arrighetti, who's finally set to face hitters again. He's had an issue with his thumb, with a fractured thumb that he had. He's going to have a couple more bullpen sessions, then start facing live hitters, and then hopefully he'll return sometime mid-August. Shane Bieber, one more BP, and then he's going to go possibly onto a rehab assignment, and hopefully he'll be back sometime the second or third, maybe toward the end of August. And Blake Snell was cleared for a rehab assignment for actually tonight when we're taping. He's cleared for his first rehab assignment. If all goes well, he can be back either the end of July or the beginning of August.
Boy, that Dodger team, they're doing well despite so many pitcher injuries. I mean, their lineup is unbreakable. And they just throw anybody, and I mean, look what they have on the IL with Glass now and Snell. They get Kershaw just got back. It's crazy. The Dodgers are just they can slow play it, and they can walk backwards and still make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago they had 9 or 10 on the IL starting pitchers, and still performing at a high level. Like, just reinforces, I think, the fact that you can never ever have enough starting pitching in this game. They break, and if you don't have that depth, you're doomed to a very long season, much the same as our fantasy game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, well, this was a fantastic show, a lot of good stuff, and I appreciate you coming on, Tim, because prospects are not a topic that Ruben and I know well, and we're eager to learn as well, so thank you very much, and why don't you just tell the audience where we can find you, listen to you, and all things Tim McLeod.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Ariel. I really appreciate it. You can find me at Prospect 361, the Patreon site and associated Discord chat room. I'm also an admin and hang out at Baseball 365, the Facebook group. We got over 3,000 members. A lot of fun. A lot of daily questions coming up there. My Twitter handle is RunTMCP361. And again, my thanks and appreciation for having me on. Here's to the $1 Jonah Tong bet, and may the best man win.
$1 US. All right, Ruben, what
That's
about
U.S. Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Ruben?
You can follow me on Twitter or X at MLB Injury Guru, where I tweet out the injury updates as they come. I'm now writing injury blurbs for players when they're coming back for Rotoballer. My article is on hold for now. I'm going to be doing actually individual players. So if you go to the Rotoballer website and you look up some injured players, I'm sure you'll catch my name there.
All right, I'm Ariel Cohen on the Twitter X at ATCNY. I'm on Fangraphs, I'm on Rotoballer, and of course, you can listen right here to the Beat the Shift podcast. And of course, ATC Projections Rest of Season. I had an update actually last week that should serve as the All-Star update, and we'll have a couple more throughout the summer as we go towards the stretch. All right, once again, thank you so much for Tim McLeod for joining the show, and from all of us here at Beat the Shift, we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Beat the Shift podcast presented by Fangraphs. Follow us on Twitter at beat_shift_pod.